Hey everyone, welcome back to the Successful Lead Generating Coaches Show. My name is Arfan, CEO, co-owner, founder of Grow Automate Scale. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk about how to go from awareness to actually selling with confidence and growing your coaching business, right? Because you want to go from awareness to enrollment, reaching those who don't know you, total strangers, and going all the way to when they can enroll you, okay? So I'm going to talk about this from my perspective of working with dozens of coaches, generating millions and millions of dollars in sales, and also just seeing it behind the scenes of what actually happens in the ad account to make this happen. Because this is not really going to be something about the organic grind. As I've said before, organic is great. And when done correctly, you definitely will get results and it'll help you to gain more confidence. But when it comes to scaling, organic is rather limited. And it can be something where it's just like just being on a constant hamster wheel, just constantly going. Anytime you hop off, everything just slows down drastically. So I believe Facebook ads, advertising on Meta is the fastest way to reach your ideal client and to convert strangers into paying customers. Okay, so let's dive right in today. And if you guys like this, share with someone who it might be helpful for. Also, don't forget to subscribe and actually give it a like, give it a thumbs up. It really helps us out. It helps the channel out to grow. It helps us to find others who are interested in our content. All right, so let's dive in. The very, very first thing I want to talk about is the real reason why coaches think the ad don't work. And I come across this often because I do a lot of audits and it comes across where, hey, ads don't work. Well, what happened was that particular ad didn't work. It's not that ads don't work, like ads as a whole, advertising as a whole, across all platforms, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, Google, television, Hulu, Disney, etc. It's not that ads don't work. It's just often that particular ad didn't work. And a lot of coaches, especially when they're early in the game, they have a high resistance in terms of like losing any kind of funds. So I've seen those who just like ads don't work. I go into ad account and it's really just a little bit of a spend. I would say a little bit of me because it's like $1,000, $1,500. And this is not like, this could feel a lot to you if this is, depending on where your business is at. But the thing is, it's really not that much at all. It's really a drop in the bucket when it comes to things, right? Because those who have invested $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in ads and still have not even seen results. And again, those particular ads don't work. And this could sound scary for listening right now if you've never ran ads before, or if you're probably doing like $5, $10 a day strategies, which is also very difficult to really see traction. You're thinking, man, ads don't work. I've been doing this for 2-3 months. Well, it's like, well, how much did you put into it? Because the thing is, we have to reach enough of our audience in order to gain traction. And I'm not saying that you need to put in $10, $15, $20,000 to even see any kind of results. It's just that we have to look at it really strategically and really honestly as far as like, why am I thinking the ads don't work? Especially if you have that thought process right now. And the reason why it comes down to this too is why it didn't work. Why didn't that one ad work? Well, I'm going to dive into that. Why wouldn't that one ad work? Why wouldn't that one campaign work? If this was my very first campaign I ran, it should have worked, right? Everyone says Facebook ads work. Invest in Facebook ads to get really good results. Well, why wouldn't it work? If every single campaign works, everyone would be doing it, first of all. And the other thing is, it's much layered than that, right? Because there's a lot of psychological triggers that we need to hit. Not only that, we have to really communicate with ideal clients. So let's break this down a little bit. The very, very first stage, when we're talking to strangers, is the awareness stage. This is where we take strangers and we make them our fans, right? They get to know us, they like us, they invest, and they say, hey, I'm going to actually join your program. I'll sign up to book a call with you, even if I don't think it might be a good fit or not. If I'm not sure, I'll still sign up to book a call with you, right? And this could be any coaching, a service-based niche if you're in that. But this is what the essence of it is, right? We want to go from awareness, we want to convert strangers to get to know us first. Before we even ask about, hey, let's work together. We want them to get to know us first. And this phase, often we look at this as like really producing a type of content that's going to give a lot of value. We want people to really say, you know what? Listening to so-and-so, listening to my content is actually helping them. They're actually moving the needle and it's actually building up awareness, right? Building up awareness for that individual to become more aware of their problem, of their pain, and then leading them now towards understanding that there's actually a solution out there. And the solution is what we have. We have the solution. I want to give you the solution. I want to make it easy for you, okay? So we want to build up this phase of awareness, and then we're going to go now into the lead phase. And once we capture their attention, once we build their awareness, we start to generate leads. And the thing is, when done correctly, right, you're going to be able to identify what pieces of messaging is resonating with the audience. So for example, the way this is done in Facebook is that it's set up as about 3 to 6 different video ads. Or you could do graphics with copy if you prefer, but 90% of the time you're going to get better results just doing video ads, right? So get comfortable trying to record some videos. If you're already great on video and you're doing a lot of organic content, you're seeing traction come slowly, get some ads in there. These are done as video views, very cost effective, very low budget, and they give you instant feedback. Instant feedback. It takes only about a week or 2 weeks to really know if you have a messaging. Sometimes less than that depending on the budget you go for it. So it's not going to guide your lead generation because you're going to see, okay, my topic on X is actually producing more people watching. More people are actually staying all the way to the end of that video. And it lets me know now, okay, well, I have several lead magnets or 7 things to generate leads. I'm gonna focus on this one because this is what people are actually watching my video on, and you put that up. And this is one of the things that allow you to now be able to put up some sort of lead generating lead magnet, something to start getting name, email, phone number, etc. every single day without wasting and blowing your budget because you're creating something that's really aligned. All right. Now, remember, keep in mind, all these things need to point to your end offer. So we always want to create our videos, create our lead magnets, etc. with the end offer in mind, because we don't want to have our end offer. So for example, if my end offer is to work with me in my agency, then at the very beginning, I'm talking about organic marketing. I'm just talking always about organic marketing, how to be good at organic marketing. And then I'm offering to work with my advertising agency. There's a big misalignment there, right? You guys will be listening like, yeah, okay, great. Then wait a minute, I don't want paid ads. What are you talking about? We just talked about this organic strategy and how it's going to do this, etc. Now we're talking about going to paid ads. It wouldn't make any sense. Okay, so this is a very low-hanging fruit example of really keeping it in the front end, so that way you build awareness of whatever your offer is going to be. Now it's no surprise that my offer is to work with everyone in agency services, whether I'm teaching you how to do it or whether you're actually having me and my team do everything for you. Now, it would make sense for me to build awareness on, hey, how do you actually create effective ads? Because if you're going to think about doing this, you want to know that it is effective. You want to know that, hey, ads do actually work. And the more important thing is you want to know that there is actually a person out there and a team out there that can actually be able to strategize with you and be able to create an advertising plan that's going to help you to get results. And that's what me and my team do. We actually spend a lot of time in the front end just strategizing before we put anything up, because we want to comb through all these videos and things like that and be able to actually put up awareness videos to help you identify which of these pieces of messaging is actually resonating with the audience, and then leading it into lead generation. From there, we go into actually nurturing those leads and then converting them into our program. Okay, so that gets me into the next phase, right? So I mentioned awareness stage, the lead stage, which is your collecting name and email address. Now it goes into the next one, which is the nurturing stage. Now this is twofold, right? Nurturing happens to be a lot of what you already produce in terms of content. So how you constantly communicate with your lead is going to be like your weekly emails, daily emails if you're at that. If you're producing long-form content every week in the form of a podcast or a YouTube or just videos in general, sending that out to consistently nurture the leads. Because here's the thing. When someone becomes aware that they have a problem, or actually more aware of their problem, and they're like now starting to go into like solution, it takes a bit of time. It takes even more to actually fully communicate to them more about the problem, and also communicate to them more about the solution. It's not so linear where it's one piece of content. A lot of people make that mistake. It's like, oh, this, they see this video, they sign up for this, they just get one email, 2, 3, 4 emails, and then boom, like that's enough to convert them. And that's not really the case. It was early in the phases of advertising when there wasn't a whole lot of saturation in the market. In addition to that, the buyer resistance was a lot lower, and a number of other factors that made it just a little easier to actually execute that compared to now, where there's more in the marketplace, more people vying for attention, and it takes a little bit more to break through the noise, right? So there's twofold. One of it is that we actually introduce a retargeting ad, which leverages a next level content, right? A little bit beyond just the awareness, but goes more into now solutions. We sometimes even give like a quick win. Someone can just apply this right now and get a win tonight. Now, this is just a little taste of everything, but they need to get more by actually signing up for us, diving deeper. Let's structure it out more, right? Because often what we do as coaches is that we can give information, but it's often piece by piece by piece by piece, meaning that it's given in a way where it's just random and very, very it's just good stuff, but it's like if someone tries to put it all together, they don't know the 1, 2, 3 to 4, 5 of how to exactly execute it step by step. Even if I'm telling you this right now, you're somewhat familiar with ads. You're like, oh, okay, I kind of get an idea of the awareness and then lead generation and then retargeting. But it's like actually to share my screen and go in the back end and show it all to you. You really want to have any idea. And I'm not going to do that right now because that's probably going to be a little bit overwhelming to try to do. I'll save it for maybe another video. But the whole thing is that this is how it works. The system is actually designed to help you do this. It's actually has these features for you to be able to create an audience of like, hey, people who've watched 75% of my videos, I can now retarget them into becoming a lead. Someone who actually becomes a lead, I can now retarget them into seeing specific content that's going to nurture them. In addition to them also getting the emails on the back end, they're going to get on the front end. We're actively nurturing this lead, so it reduces the timeline to conversion, okay? Because the thing is, the statistics is that it takes about 7 to 11 hours of someone spending time with us, whether that's reading the material, seeing us on video, before they actually want to convert. So if we're just relying on a 2-3 minute video once or they get 12 minutes of content, we're expecting them to book a call. That's not really going to be the case. Often some of you guys who book calls with me, who actually signed up to work with our agency, you guys have consumed videos of mine, been on my email list for years. Okay, so I know that it is a very long game for both organic and also paid advertising. But we want to condense that timeline as much as possible. And for those of you who are in like the health and fitness coaching, these timelines can be condensed a lot more because often people are looking for a solution and they want something right away. If you're in like a life coaching capacity, same thing too as well. You can condense that timeline of when someone's going to want to work with you, business coaching, etc. It's all the same thing. It's going to take a while, but we want to condense it as much as possible. And the strategy of nurturing, generating the lead, raising awareness, getting the lead actually generated, the nurturing them helps to speed that up, right? So this is how you turn leads into buyers, is when the nurturing phase. And then the thing is, when it comes to enrollment, this is often something where we can't only just look at relying on our email system. We also do have to be active in this, right? Because often there are those who want to know that we're a real person and that we're in this and we're not just trying to make a quick buck, because that's been one of the biggest objections a lot, is that there's a lot of programs out there, courses, etc., that's really just being done to make money, and they're not really doing this to actually help out, right? At least that's the perspective of it. I know that's not exactly true. That's the perception of it, especially those who flash like they've got all these lavish things. It really hurt a lot of us who are legitimately trying to help those who put together a service because it's part of our skill set, part of our zone of genius, and we want to actually help those. And coaching is a really great way to do that, okay? So a couple things to know about enrollment. Really what this comes down to is converting with confidence. And one of my favorite strategies is the consistent lead generation and doing a live event at least once a quarter to once a month. Because what happened is that all these leads that have come in, who've become aware, who've now, they've became a lead, they've been getting nurtured, and they're ready, but they sometimes, instead of hopping on a call, they just want to have some sort of Q&A or some sort of idea that you're a real person. So interacting with you live, whether it can be a pop-up Q&A that invites the email list to, Instagram Live or a Facebook Live, something that it doesn't have to be a full webinar, although that is probably one of the best ways to go about it. I use the term webinar loosely, more of a framework, not exactly, not exactly for you to follow like, hey, I'm going to create a webinar. It's like, join my free webinar. No, like create it as an actual training. Like I'm hosting a training called, XYZ. It's a title. It's not like, here's my, join my free webinar. And then that's it. Like, you want to give it a good name, make it a masterclass, something where you're teaching, or a workshop where they're going to actually be able to like interact and do things together, okay? And even if you do a 3-day challenge or something like that, depending on what you do, and every coach I've ever worked with who consistently do live events always get the best conversion rates. And what happens is it gets easier and easier as we generate leads, and sometimes don't even need to do something to fill the program because the lead generation, the process built in, works well enough, and they just want to do a live training anyways just to convert even more. Okay, so that is one of the secrets. Like those who do a live event, if you do a live event once a week, by the end of the year, you have no money problems. Like you're just like, okay, I'm good. Like I'm converting like crazy. And it's proven over and over and over again, like hundreds and thousands of times. You talk to a lot of coaches successful, ask them what they've done, and they'll tell you like, hey, I was doing live webinars. Like I evergreened it after a while, or etc. I've done challenges. They always do something live where they're inviting leads into, consistently just engaging with those, building the trust, and then converting them into their program. Once we convey that thought of like, hey, I know your problem, this is the solution, okay, and this is my offer. This is how I'm gonna act. This is my product, okay. So not only are they problem aware, they're solution aware, and they're product aware. When someone has that trifecta and they have trust, it's a simple thing of they're a client. More than likely, in 9 times out of 10, this person is a client because they already know, like, hey, you can solve my problem. You have the solution already designed and created for me. My only resistance is will it work? Do I have enough time, or maybe money? But other than that, like, they will become a client because you're hitting all these markers. Okay. So now when it comes into the advertising, okay, because again, this can be executed in any way, organic or whichever way, organic, right? But whichever way you do it. So when it comes to advertising, there's 3 metrics that I want you to pay attention to. These are, I think, some of the most important ones out of everything altogether. One is going to be your CPM. What is it costing you to advertise to an audience? Now, CPM costs on Meta, we like that to be under $40. What is CPM, right? It translates to cost per 1,000 impressions. What does it cost you to have your ad be shown 1,000 times? Okay? And this generally under $40 means your ad was shown 1,000 times. This is why we use this benchmark is that it takes typically about 1,000 to 2,000 impressions before you know an ad is viable, meaning that if it's getting enough clicks and getting enough attention, if it's a lead, something to generate leads, that has generated a few leads. Now, if it's for a purchase, for like a self-liquidating low-ticket offer, you may need closer to 3,000 to 5,000 impressions, but I'm just talking generally for pure lead generation for some sort of lead magnet, a workshop, webinar, evergreen, whatever it is, a PDF, an ebook, or something like that. For anything that's a paid offer, even if it's $7, you need closer to 3,000 to 5,000 to make sure that it's really viable. Just to kind of keep that note there. But CPM is super important. Why is it super important? Is because this is what lets you know how well your messaging is resonating with the audience. The higher the CPM, what Facebook is telling you is that, hey, there's really not a whole lot of people who really want to hear this or are interested in this. So we recommend you doing a little different messaging. And this could actually be a number of things. This could be a complete overhaul of the messaging from the ad copy to the landing page copy, right? Because Meta looks at all this. They look at your ad copy, the transcript of your video, your headline, your landing page, your privacy policy, your terms and condition, your thank you page, and your entire website. Okay, so if you're seeing that a campaign has a high CPM, now it don't gotta be your whole website. We're just looking mainly focused on the campaign. The low-hanging fruits that you gotta change up the ads right away, okay? But you want that to be under $40, all right? That's the key thing there. Next is the click-through rate, CTR. And we're focusing on CTR all because this lets you know how well is my image, my video, my opening hook, and my headline doing. And we want this to be above 2.5%. Industry standard is like 1.82%, but we want to be above 2.5% because this lets us know that we're creating a successful ad and it's going to lead into a successful campaign. Because anything lower than that over time, what I've seen is it doesn't really pan out well. Now, if you're in like really high budget and very, very specific, you may notice that it's lower than that. It's closer to the industry average. And when I say high budget, maybe $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a day, that's when it's okay to go below the 2.5. But if you're at a lower budget, you want to kind of aim to get about 2.5 or better. And trust me on this, this is a key thing here, especially if you're at a lower budget. You need the click-through rate to really, really stand out with the audience, okay? The next thing is your cost per lead. What is it actually costing you to get a result? What is my cost per result? And this right here varies a lot by niche and by industry. So it's really good to have certain benchmarks. But generally, for like a PDF or some sort like that, we're seeing under $5 a lead. For evergreen webinars, depending on how it's set up, if it's set up just not true and actually true evergreen platform, and it's just you built it out yourself in your funnel, this may be under $8. But generally, if it's built out through a funnel where they're selecting a date and a time, you'll notice closer to $8, $10, $15, sometimes even closer to $20. But you want to keep this also under $25. If this is over $25 for something that's a live training or a true evergreen workshop, or a webinar, you're starting to see that your cost per lead is about to get too high, and it becomes difficult to get a break even because the amount of leads you need to generate becomes a lot more, or it would not like cost a lot more. So you want to aim to get that down. A couple of things to look at is your conversion rate. One of the low-hanging fruits of all these I see is that they often have a low conversion rate, sometimes under 10%. you want to get about 20-25%. And this has a lot to do with the way your landing page is set up, your headlines on the page, and also the options you're giving them. So if you give them a whole bunch of options to select, like 9, 7, or 8 different times, you're going to notice a low conversion rate versus choosing something that's instant. You can watch the next 15 minutes, and then here's 2 or 3 options. You're going to get a better conversion rate. So you want to be able to adjust and split test these to be able to see better conversion rates. If you're doing it live, and your cost of lead is 35 or 40 bucks, obviously the number one thing is, what is your niche? Who are you targeting? And what is the population size of that niche? And are you also geofence, meaning that you're selecting specific locations? All those factor into it. I'm talking in broad terms right now, that maybe you're targeting the US plus Canada, or the UK, or you're targeting all the English-speaking countries in the world. This is where your cost should be much, much lower than that, okay? Now, if you're just noticing you're getting super cheap leads, do pay attention to what's happening on the back end, because I also come across where sometimes campaigns, they just take off and they just generate leads for like $1, $2, $3, and the very end and the back of it, man, no one's converted. No one's converted. And sometimes when this happens is that there's a mismatch. The messaging is great, but when they go through the funnel and they're going through the offer, there's a big mismatch in what they're actually getting. So you got to really just look and pay attention to these. And I know it's a lot to do. Like, it's not really just a quick thing, because it requires daily paying attention to some of these numbers and doing a debrief almost every single week, which is where my team and I come in. If you want to have someone that can support you to be able to help you with these metrics, so that way that all the work is not on your shoulders, and you can actually focus on being a coach and not, trying to juggle now being an ads manager, being a funnel builder, because that's not what you signed up for either. You didn't sign up to be an organic content creator, and you probably didn't sign up to be an ads manager, right? What you signed up for is to be a coach. And my goal is to help coaches be coaches, and so they can stop spending so much of their valuable time in the minutia of things to get their business running, and they could do more of actually supporting and coaching their clients. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, just book a free call with me. What we do is a strategy call, and we'll go over your entire funnel, your offers, and what you have, be able to see what makes the most sense to run ads, and I'll give you an opportunity that you could take what I gave you and you could do it on your own, or we could spend time to work together and implement this together, okay? So just go to www.arfanhussein.com/start, and there's a link on there to book a call. Just click on it. It's a 30-minute call. Just choose a date, time. I'm going to ask a few questions on the back end, so I can get so before we meet, I can actually take a look at what you have going on, and then from there we'll chat and go from there. So if you have any questions at all, don't forget to just hit reply if you got this via email or in the blog post, or shoot us a message at hello@growautomatescale.com. Happy to respond to you. Other than that, don't forget to give this video a like. Forget to share it with somebody and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye.